Welcome to the nuKnee Neuromuscular Reeducation module. For this module, you will need a yoga mat, a towel or a pillow, and a chair. The purpose of this module is to begin to functionally prepare the sensors that surround the knee and hip for some of the activities that we will experience in daily life. For the first exercise in our neuromuscular reeducation module, we're going to complete our heel slides and knee drives. David's going to grab his towel and have a seat on the floor, while Trisha places her chair behind her mat. David's going to straighten out both legs, wrap a towel around his right ankle, and grab onto the towel with both hands. Trisha's going to stand next to the chair with her left leg on the ground, and right knee on the chair, and her right hand on the chair for support. David's going to slide his heel towards his butt to create flexion in his right knee, and then straighten out his leg to create extension in his right leg. Trisha's maintaining all of her weight on her left knee and leg while driving her right knee forward and then straightening out her right leg. The goal of this exercise is to begin to prep yourself for walking and moving by creating more flexion and extension throughout your right knee. Bend the knee in a comfortable manner and then straighten out your leg to feel a stretch in the back of the leg. Great job. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So Trisha's going to stand on the other side of the chair, so she has her left hand on for support, her left leg on the chair, and her right leg on the floor. David has a towel wrapped around his left heel, and he's going to slowly bring his heel towards his butt, getting a good amount of bend in his left leg, while then straightening out his left leg to feel a stretch on his left hamstring. Trisha's making sure to not place any weight onto that left leg as she brings her knee forward, maintaining all of her weight on her right heel and her left hand. This is a gentle passive range of motion of her left leg and her left knee, causing no stress and no pain. One last bend, hold at the end, and then straighten out and get a stretch on the back of your leg. Go ahead and place the towel and the chair off to the side and come to a standing position in the middle of the mat. David's going to take a step forward with his right leg and begin the weight acceptance exercise with his right ankle and knee. Trisha's then going to take a step forward and bend that knee and roll that ankle and then return to her starting position. You can complete either the modified or the advanced version of this exercise, making sure not to place any extra stress on your knee. Great job. Maintain a nice controlled step, a good weight shift, making sure to collapse the arch on your right ankle, and then return back to neutral. The goal of this exercise is to progress the range of motion that we gained in the first movement and start to accept weight onto our right leg. Now we're going to complete our left side. So David's going to take a step forward and keep his left leg there, accept some weight onto his left ankle and knee, and then return to neutral, while Trisha steps forward, dives that knee down and in, and then returns back to having both feet right next to each other. Make sure not to cause any stress or strain on the inside or the top part of your knee during this exercise. The goal is just to exaggerate the weight acceptance that you experience during walking. So push your weight forward, dive that ankle down and in, and then return back to neutral. Great job. Go ahead and come to the top of your mat. David's going to grab his chair for increased balance and support. Stand at the top of your mat with both feet on the floor and take a step forward with your left leg. Take a step out at a 45-degree angle and return. And then to take a step out at the other 45-degree angle and return. The goal of this exercise is to stretch your right calf. So you want to keep that right heel on the floor, making sure those right toes don't point out as you complete the exercise. You're going to go through the sequence of 3 different steps while maintaining that heel on the floor, trying to stretch that right calf. In the first few exercises, we were mobilizing the knee and teaching it how to accept weight. Now we're going to start to teach that right calf how to trail behind you so that it's prepped for walking. You're going to continue the sequence of stepping forward, side, and to the other side, Continuing to mobilize that right calf, placing no extra stress or strain on that left knee. Step out to the other diagonal, get a good stretch, and then return. Great job. Now we're going to try the other side. So point that left heel forward, have that left heel on the ground, take a step forward and return. Now step off to the side at a 45-degree angle, and then step across your body at a 45-degree angle. Notice that David's maintaining his hand on a chair or a wall for support, while Trisha has placed her hands on her hips. The goal is to feel a good stretch on the back of the left leg in the calf area. We don't want to place any extra stress on that knee, so make sure you're not experiencing any pain during the exercises or placing your knee in any harmful positions. Step 3 different ways, mobilizing that calf in all the directions that it's going to experience during walking and different movement patterns. We're going to step forward, feel a stretch and return. Step out to the right, feel a stretch and return. And then step out to the left, feel a stretch and return. You'll notice that that heel wants to toe out during the exercises, so keep checking back in to make sure the heel is on the ground and your toes are pointed straight forward. Last one, step across, feel a stretch, and return. Great job. Go ahead and grab your chair and place it on the center of your mat or behind your mat. David is going to lay down on the floor and complete the modified version of the exercise. David's going to place a towel or a pillow behind his head, lay flat on his back, and cross his left leg over his right. He's going to reach down through his legs and grab the back of his right leg and pull his hips towards his chest. He's going to hold for 2 seconds and then return back down to the floor. Trish is completing the upright, more advanced version of the exercise with her left leg crossed over her right, and she's going to slightly lean forward until she feels a stretch in the back of her hips. Make sure you're not overstraining or overstressing your low back during this exercise. The goal is just to feel a stretch in the back of your hips. Once you've completed 3 reps, let's flip to the other side. So cross your right leg over your left. David's going to reach through and pull his left leg all the way towards his chest as far as he can. And Trisha, in a seated upright manner, is going to lean forward to feel a stretch in the back of her right hip. Stay nice and tall if you're in the chair and lean forward. Hold for a second or 2 and then return. One last repetition. Lean and hold, or pull your leg to your chest and hold and then return. Go ahead and put the chair off to the side and stand up and put the towel off to your side if you've been on the floor. Stand in the middle of your mat in a nice comfortable position with your feet about shoulder width apart. The goal of this exercise is to start to mobilize our hips and our ankles. So push your hip all the way out to the left, then all the way out to the right. As you push to one side, you'll collapse one arch and make an arch on the other side. And then as you go the other way, you'll collapse the other arch and make an arch on the other side. You might feel a stretch on the outside of your hips, but make sure you're not feeling any stress or pain in your low back or in your knees. We're starting to re-educate our feet and ankles to start to accept weight and load from side to side in an upright manner. Keep a nice controlled pace as you move from side to side. Now bring your right foot 6 inches forward and complete the same movement. So our feet are going to be staggered, but we're still pushing our hips from side to side. We're mobilizing both our right and our left ankles as we push our hips, and we're also stretching the muscles on the outside of our hips. Keep a nice controlled pattern. Push your hips from side to side, relaxing your toes, making sure not to grip the floor. These exercises are definitely best done without shoes on so that you can mobilize your ankle and feel as much movement through your hip and ankle as possible. Push your hip out to the right and back to neutral. Great job. Now go ahead and place your left foot forward and we're going to complete that same movement. So push your hip out to the left and then out to the right. Good. Notice that both the model's ankles are relaxed, their toes aren't clenching the floor, and they're pushing their hips from side to side as far as they can go comfortably. Roll your ankle from one side to the other, mobilizing and gaining range while we're training the knee, ankle, and hip to go from side to side. Great job, guys. Keep going, a nice comfortable pace. Try and go a little farther each time. Push your limits. Good. Go ahead and come back to neutral in the middle of your mat with your feet shoulder width apart. Now we're going to reprogram and retrain our walking. So with your feet shoulder width apart, begin a marching sequence where you raise your right leg and your right knee, and then bring it back down to the floor, then lift your left leg and your left knee. Make sure you stay stable and controlled. If you need to place your hand on a chair or a wall for balance, go ahead and do so. The goal of this exercise is to start to reprogram your foot, knee, and ankle to start to move in a walking pattern. We're challenging our balance just a little bit, but more than anything, we're activating the muscles needed to maintain an upright posture. Move from side to side, stay up nice and tall, and just complete a slow, controlled march. You'll notice that both models have placed their hands on their hips for balance and are maintaining a nice, controlled movement as they move from side to side. Lift one leg, hold at the top for just a second, then lower back down and lift the other leg. Great job. Go ahead and grab your chair and place it on the end of the mat, facing towards you. Stand facing the chair with both feet on the floor. Place your right foot on the chair and your left foot on the ground. Keep your left heel pointed straight forward and all of your weight placed on your left leg. Drive your knee forward and then straighten out and straighten that right knee. You'll notice that David has his hands on his hips for support, while Trisha is bringing her arms up and overhead for increased balance. The goal of this exercise is to feel a stretch on the front of that left hip. So you're going to want to keep that left heel on the ground, the left toe pointed straight forward, and all of your weight placed through your left leg. As we bring our hips forward, we'll notice a good stretch on the front side of that left hip, especially as we bring our arms up overhead like Trisha is doing. As we straighten out our leg, we'll notice that we feel a good stretch in the right hamstring or the back of that right leg. Continue this motion in a nice, safe, comfortable manner as we start to reprogram and retrain our hips and our knees for different movements. Straighten out back, straighten that knee and get a good stretch in the back of that leg. Push your hip forward and get a good stretch on the front of that left hip. These chair drives are essential to begin to program your left hip and your right knee for the movements it needs. Great job. Let's go ahead and switch sides now. So place your right foot on the ground, your left foot up on the chair. Remember, all of our weight is in our right leg. Our right heel is on the ground as we go forward. Our toes are pointed straight forward. Our right knee is straight, and we're bringing our hips straight forward to feel a stretch in the front of our right hips. As we straighten our leg, we'll feel a stretch in the back of that left knee or the back of that left leg. Again, David has his hands on his hips for support, and he's going to help improve his balance by decreasing his range of motion. Trisha's bringing her arms up overhead as she drives her hips forward so that she feels a greater stretch, but also challenges her balance more. Continue through this movement in a nice controlled manner, bringing your knee forward, all of your weight staying on your right leg, and then straightening out your leg, feeling a stretch on the back of your left leg. Keep going here. Good stretch. Great job. Make sure to maintain that right leg as straight. Don't bend that right knee as you move forward, and keep all of your weight on that right leg. Great work. Straighten out that leg and get a good stretch there. Last one here. Drive your knee forward, stretch on the front of that right hip, and straighten out, stretch on the back of that left leg. Go ahead and step off. Now turn 90 degrees away from the chair and go ahead and take a step onto the chair with your right leg. So your right leg is on the chair, facing 90 degrees away from your body, and your body is pointed straight forward towards your left leg. We're going to complete a similar exercise, except this time we're trying to stretch our groin. So as you drive your right knee in, keep your left leg straight and feel a stretch on the inside of your thigh, and then straighten out that leg and feel a stretch on the right side of your hamstring or your right knee. Again, notice that David has his hands on his hips for balance, and he's going through a smaller range of motion, but still feeling a good stretch on his hips and the back of his knee. As Trisha goes in, she's taking her arms up overhead to challenge her balance, but also to feel a greater stretch on her groin. Maintain a nice controlled rhythm through these exercises, as these are important to retraining the muscles all the way from your ankle to your knee to your hip to your spine. Drop back and feel a stretch. Bring your hips in and drive your knee forward towards the chair, and then drop on back. Great job. And return. And reach up. And return. Great job. Let's go ahead and grab our chair and move it to the opposite side of the mat, and we'll complete the same exercise on the other leg. So first you'll stay 90 degrees away from the mat, facing forward, and then you'll place your left foot up on the chair, 90 degrees pointed away from your other leg. Keep your hips pointed straight forward, and drop your hips back. Push your knee forward and bring your hips towards the chair. Feel a stretch on the inside of your thigh, then straighten out your leg and feel a stretch on the back of your leg. David has his hands on his hips for balance, and notice that he's going through a smaller range. Trisha's maintaining a good rhythm as she goes through this exercise, but making sure she feels control and support while she feels a stretch on the inside of her thigh while she puts her leg in, and then feels a stretch on the back of her left leg as she straightens out her left leg. Continue through this movement, staying nice and tall, controlling the actions of your hip, knee, and ankle, staying upright through your back, making sure not to arch forward or back or even side to side. Keep going. Great work, guys. Feel a good stretch on the inside of those hips. It's going to unlock some of the movements that we're going to need for our knee. Driving those arms overhead if you can, and straightening out that leg for a good stretch in the back of that left leg. Go ahead and step off. Go ahead and come to the middle of the mat with your feet about shoulder width apart. We're going to start in a staggered stance with our right foot slightly in front of our left, and we're going to do a 3-dimensional weight shift. So first you're going to shift your weight forward onto your right knee as you slightly bend it, and then return. The goal of this exercise is to sequence some of the movement weight shifts that are going to happen throughout walking and other movements that you do during your daily life. So shift your weight forward onto your right knee, then return, making sure there's no pain or no extra stress placed on that knee. Now we're going to do that same movement, but now you're going to shift your weight out to the side. So drive your hips out to the right while you shift your weight onto your right knee, making sure there's no pain on any part of your knee. You may even feel a good stretch on the inside of your left thigh or the outside of your right hip. Shift your weight, then return to neutral. One last one, and then return. Good. Now think of a circular motion where you shift your weight forward, push your hips in a circle, and then return back to the middle. Imagine you have a hula hoop around your waist, and you're shifting the weight as you slide that hula hoop around. Again, we want no pain in that knee. All we're doing is reprogramming the ankle, knee, and hip to start to load and accept weight as we move through our movement progressions. One last one. Shift and rotate. Great job. Now let's come back to neutral and place our left leg forward and complete the same set of exercises. So put your left leg forward, and as you shift forward, place some weight onto that left leg, bend that knee, and then return. Place some weight on that knee and bend and return. Keep going in a nice, controlled manner. Again, we want no pain on any part of the knee, so if you're experiencing any, don't go quite as far or don't place quite as much weight on that knee. Now we're going to go out to the side. So shift your weight onto that left leg, but push your hip over to the side and then return. Shift your weight on, push it out to the side, and then return. Making sure you're feeling a nice controlled weight shift. You're feeling some of those muscles in your hip and your knee turn on, and you're not placing any extra stress or experiencing any pain in that knee. Great job. Now we're going to complete our circular motion. So shift your weight onto that knee, push your hip out to the side like you have a hula hoop, and then return to center. Shift and move and back to center. Again, all you should feel is your left leg, your left knee, and your left hip turning on and some of those muscles activating. Good weight shift, good circle and return. And last one, put a little bit more weight through and return. Great job. Return to neutral, and you've now completed the neuromuscular re-education module.